Hey everybody, welcome to Spiritual Topic Night with the Spiritual Coffee House. I'm Randi Sands, psychic medium, and we've got a bunch of amazing people tonight. We are going to talk about what being spiritual means. There's no real clear definition. Everybody here is going to have a different idea and a different opinion of what that means, which is wonderful. And I think first we'll get started introducing ourselves. So as I said, I'm Randi Sands. And Sarah, I think you're next.
Okay, I'm Sarah Sachs. I'm a medium and psychic.
All
Uh,
right.
And
should
I am,
Oh, sorry.
no, you're okay. And my name's Leanne. And by day, I work with dogs. I own a dog grooming salon here in New York State. By night, I'm a psychic medium and animal communicator. And I also actually co-run a paranormal investigation team here in New York. So fun stuff.
Angela?
Okay, I'm Angela Maria Herrera. I am in South Florida, originally from Colombia, and I offer a comprehensive approach to health and well-being while I mix contemporary practices with ancient teachings, and crystal is my main forte. And I work also with energy tools and channeling.
All right. Chris?
I'm Chris Kern. I am, by day, I am finishing the program in vet tech, and it will be done in May and be working with animals full time. I am also an intuitive empath. I do readings. I do health readings. I'm an intuitive health reader. And I work with animals. I'm an animal communicator as well. And I'm very much involved with a local shelter here in Erie, PA. And this is one of my babies. This is Queen Bee.
Greg?
Hello, I'm Greg. Nice to see everybody. Happy New Year. Part-time resident of Lilydale for a very long time, maybe 17 or 18 years. Currently have property up there. I'm a musician, photographer, and so on. And I guess my connection to all this is Lilydale, which I absolutely love.
Karen? Nope, your sound is off. You're on mute.
Okay. Hi, my name is Karen Exelbert. I am a massage therapist for 23 years. And I'm also a healer. I live in South Florida, and I'm happy to be here.
An amazing healer, by the way. Diane?
Can you hear me?
We do. She can't figure out how to turn her camera on. She's got a new phone.
Well,
We have to
I got a new phone for Christmas, so it's going to take me a little while. My name is Dr. Diane Bernardi. I am an astrologer. I have a PhD in astrology and psychology. My main focus is aura photography and chakra healing, as well as rune readings.
All right. Barbara?
Hi, my name is Barbara, and I am an owner of Spiritual Journey in Coral Springs, Florida. I am also an author, Reiki master, and teacher.
And I will be seeing you shortly because I'm doing an animal communication seminar in just a couple days.
Yep, on Thursday.
Amy?
Hi, I'm Amy. I don't actually know what I am. I'm just a person that loves anything that is spiritual. I'm not like a psychic medium, none of that. I wish I was. So I'm Amy.
All right. So with that, why don't we just do kind of like a roundhouse, guys? Make it kind of like a coffee clutch. And why don't we go in the same order? Sarah, would you like to give your ideas on what being spiritual means?
Okay, well, I learned a long time ago that that there's a difference between being spiritual and being religious. And I found some, I should put it in quote, religious people have been sort of like some of the most unspiritual people that I've known. And but I feel as though to me it's fairly simple as a medium connecting with spirit, those on the other side. That's a very important part of being spiritual, but it's also carrying it into daily life and how I treat other people. And knowing that I'm in a, not only a spiritual community, but in a community of, maybe trying to make the world a little bit better. I feel as though people like, Martin Luther King and some other leaders like that who would have been thought of as spiritual and with churches and that sort of thing, that part of their spirituality was to be fighting for equality and making the world a better place. So that's a big part of my spirituality, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome. When you said Martin Luther King, I also thought of John Lewis.
Yes, him too. Yes, getting into good trouble. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Angela.
Well, I think that being spiritual is trying to connect and find yourself within. Just look inside and reflect on the path that you walked already, and see the grace in all the little battles that you master day by day, and seeing it in a way that enriches your life. And when I connect with ancestors and spirit and people who transcend, I see the beauty in seeing the tiny messages in every single action, especially by that little Hitler that we saw there. That little cat had such a beautiful aura. I think that's spirituality. Spirituality is being able to see all those tiny messages, no matter how small.
All right. Lee.
So I laughed when I saw the way that you posed the question. Does spirituality mean Zen? Because to me, it means 100% opposite of Zen. It means chaos, cluster. The more that the universe can throw at you. The way that I look at it, frankly, is that the spiritual journey, nothing to do with religion, but the spirituality of it is, it's about being real, authentic, self-care, having boundaries, and just respecting your space and respecting other space in every area of our life. And I think that it's got to be something that you have to do just by trusting and going with gut instinct and and just learning and sharing with other people.
Right on. Chris?
I agree with a lot of what Sarah said. I make a huge distinction between spirituality and religious belief. And you can be both spiritual and religious, but they are different things. And I think that spirituality is about connecting with others on both sides of the veil and basing our lives on compassion and grace. That doesn't mean that everything's going to always be happy and zen and love and light and all of that. The challenge is keeping that compassion and grace even as we're facing the greatest challenges of our lives, right? And that is not easy. And those of us that are the best healers and the best teachers are the ones that have fought the most, I think, in trying to keep that balance of compassion and grace in the face of hardship. And I also think that spirituality is about being in touch with the energies of both life and death, where we can find the balance of all of those energies and use them for positive effects.
That was awesome.
Very well said. Yeah.
Greg?
Thank you. I feel like there's a connection for me. It's about how I feel about it, I guess you would say, is how I feel a connection to the universe, to the earth, to everything. That's where I get mine from. When I was 5 years old, I was down by the creek, and there were these two trout in there, little rainbow trout. One was 12 inches and one was 9 inches. And I reached down and I picked them up and I took them home and we ate them. And we were, single mother, just got divorced. I was the youngest of three boys. And I brought them home, and I felt like that was the gift of, that's where I get mine from. I get mine from Mother Earth and things. And when I look at when I look at the history of it, I feel a connection to it, not through really speaking to it. I don't feel the need to speak to my great grandparents, but I do feel the need to represent the history of it and the connection to it that way. And there was something you said early on was about bad people. I think there are bad people because I think people aren't I don't think every person, I'm not saying every person isn't valuable because they are more than ever. It's just that some people are bad. That's just my feeling.
And that's fair. That's fair.
That's my start for this conversation.
All right. Karen.
All right. I think that we're all spiritual beings, but what connects you to spirit is having the awareness of spirit. And some people also confuse spirit and soul. The spirit creates the soul, and spirit lives within us. You know, so in order to connect to spirit, we need to feel it and have the awareness that it's there, that it exists. I feel like dogs, you know, or dogs, cats, leaves, flowers, spirit lives with them too. So when you connect with it and you know of the existence and you're aware of it, then you live life in that path with us in a spiritual path. And I also agree has nothing to do with religion. You know, that's a whole different subject. Religions were invented. Spirit is. It's a reality. It's the truth. And also that spirit animates the soul.
All right. I love this because everybody is kind of together, but in different areas too. Diane.
Hi. Well, connecting to source, connecting to spirit is key. And good words, good thoughts, good deeds go a very long way. Besides, I mean, you are what you say, you are your word. That's true spirituality. If you can walk your walk and talk your talk, people follow your example. If you're giving a good example, you've got it made. I love spirit. I talk to spirit every day. I get messages also from the earth. Same thing, Pachamama, from the sky. I'm a sky watcher. I get messages from the clouds, etc. And that's where I find my joy.
All right. Barbara.
You know, Diane, I totally agree with what you said. And it's, you know, you have to believe what you're doing. And it does come within. All right. It is what you believe on what you're learning. If you're a teacher, what you're teaching. Okay. Yeah, not everybody out there is of the light. Okay. But it is our job as healers and teachers to teach them, to bring them into that light and make them understand what it's all about and how it is that we're supposed to be, you know, doing our journey and also teaching them how to do theirs. So that's a very important part of it. Being spiritual is all about what's inside and what you think and what you make of your life. And that's what I think it is.
Awesome. Amy?
I just wanted to say something real quick, actually, to that is I was looking for the quote, and it was in one of the classes that I've taken over the past, but what you just said really resonated with it. The line I had written down is just spirituality is meant to make you better at being human.
Yeah,
exactly. And yeah, it's exactly it. When you think about it that way.
Mm-hmm. It's all about really what you're learning about you, because, on your spiritual path, you're going through all these different hoops that you're learning about everything about you. Okay. And how to release it or how to bring certain things in. Right. So what we're supposed to be doing is to teach others how to do the same thing, because there are people out there that have no idea where to even start. So what do? We go out there, we say, okay, here, let's sit down, let's have a cup of coffee, let's chit chat. Okay. Just like we're doing here. Okay. And you start getting them into it, and where they're going, oh my gosh, this is what I need. This is what I want, And that's important. It's important to open other people up to their spirituality, and yet they do. They mix the two between religious and being spiritual. Okay. People come into my center, I sit down and I can have a conversation forever with them. Okay. My center was built with angels. Why? Because I believe in angels. All right. And I get all my guidance from those angels. Now, if I didn't believe in them, who would I get my guidance from? This is who I believe is giving me my guidance. You have to have somebody or something that you can believe in order to believe in yourself. And that's how I feel.
All right. Amy.
I agree a lot with what everybody said. I feel spirituality is within you. That what you give out, you get in return. There are going to be times where you're not having the best day. It's not, everybody. You have a bad day, but I think if you focus on those bad things, that puts you, where you're not getting back from the universe. You're getting back whatever you put out. I feel that everything happens for a reason. I know he had said about the trout being in there. I totally believe in that. I think that I actually have a tattoo that says everything happens for a reason. But we have our bad experiences to learn from them. And it is our duty to teach others, what is good, how you feel, keep the positivity, because there's a lot of bad in this world. I believe connecting with source. I believe, just like somebody else said, within your animals. So I think what you give, you get back in return, and that we're all here to teach people, and to help them during their journey.
Exactly. It's important that we share what we learn to people that aren't out there learning it. It's important.
Right. I agree. All right. I guess that just leaves me. So I'm going to talk from a position of me, because what works for me doesn't necessarily work for everybody, because we all have our own journeys, our own road to walk. For me, being spiritual, in my opinion, has many components, and it can be very complex, different layers. To me, being spiritual is not about being Zen all the time. Sometimes it's being my best, and other times I may show my behind. And yes, while I do not want to show my behind, and for those that don't understand that term, it means I may be at my worst at times. But those are what bring about lessons, that teach us to grow and expand, in my opinion. The truth is, I don't grow from my successes. I grow from my failures. And
Amen.
There's been many. My idea of being spiritual means having the courage and being willing to take a long, hard look at myself and my behaviors. And that's not always pretty. In every situation, all sides have a part. Sometimes some sides have a bigger part than others, but all have a part. And every situation brings lessons, as I mentioned earlier, that are designed for all the parties to grow from. Being spiritual for me is about letting go of the past and moving forward. That's not always easy. Every person, I believe, comes into our life for a reason. I like to use plants as an analogy. Some are annual, some are biannual, some are perennials, and others are like giant redwoods that are a permanent fixture. They hang around forever, you know. Um, it's my belief that it takes courage and wisdom to know when it's time to step back and let the universe, take the driver's seat. I believe that being spiritual is about forgiveness of others as well as myself. Um, Holding on to past hurts, I believe, only creates greater hurt. Imagine how much baggage I had been willing to carry throughout my life, and it hurts no one but myself. And lastly, it's about being better today than I was yesterday, not by simply existing as an observer, but by running full speed into situations that promote spiritual growth time and time again. Um, I feel it's about being a seeker of growth, not just learning lessons when the universe thrusts them upon me, because I wouldn't stretch myself otherwise. For me, it's about being a champion and a cheerleader of my own spiritual growth by constantly being actively seeker of new opportunities to grow. With that said, there are times when I'm exhausted and I need to take a short break, and I can't go rushing right into those situations. I mean, even McDonald's knows, we all have to take a break today, and have it our way, right? So for me, the key is in making sure that it's a very short break. Um, and that I get right back up to it and get right back on that horse. And being open to other perspectives, I think, is also very important, because if we aren't open to other perspectives, I don't know everything. None of us do. And I think the way that we grow and continue to grow is by being willing to listen. We were given 2 ears and 1 mouth. And being willing to look at another perspective and examine it and say, could this work for me? Could this be better than the perspective I have right now? And that's what it means, to me. So with that said, what I'd like to do is kind of open it up to where if anybody else has anything they would like to say before we close out.
Well, that's
Yeah,
go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, a couple of things. I think it's very important about learning more about, I hate to call them failures, but I think that people who are very secure in their spiritual practice really own up to it. And I remember seeing a video by Tony Stockwell, who's considered one of the best mediums in the UK, and also from a tutor of mine, Andy Bing, another British medium, talking about their failures, not being able to connect in a reading. And I know Tony had said that he had to, and this is where people from Lilydale and the, spiritualist churches want to faint, is he said he had to pull some tarot cards, kind of get back on track to get a focus. And he really did connect with the person. And Andy was talking about having to stop a reading, but tell the woman that he would give her a phone reading some months later. And when he did, it went very well, he said, because he learned at that point that not only was the woman not ready to to get a reading, but the person and the people in the spirit world weren't ready either. And so he said he learned a very valuable lesson about that, which brings me to the other point is I feel very fortunate to have studied overseas because I feel as though the approach to mediumship in the UK from Arthur Findlay and in the Netherlands at the Zwanenhof have been really kind of an enriching thing to get. And it's not only that, but it's a combination of being with people from all over the world who we're all basically the same, but culturally there are differences. And I feel as though it really helped me to build up, as a medium and as a person, because over there they have a little bit more emphasis on, build spiritual development as well as the skill of, healing or mediumship. And to me, that's been a very beneficial thing. So I'm glad you brought up those 2 points because I think they're incredibly important for spiritual growth.
Okay. Anyone else?
Randy, you had mentioned challenging yourself, pushing yourself and stretching your boundaries and trying to find new ways to increase your growth. And when I talked about approaching life with compassion and grace, that's what I meant, that it's easy for many of us to feel compassion for other people, but we don't extend that same compassion to ourselves. So we feel like if we try something, we have to succeed or we're not good enough. And if you extend that same compassion to yourself that you do to others, then you're more willing to take those risks to move towards growth because you're okay with not succeeding on your first try, and that's really the spiritual growth, is in that allowing yourself not to be perfect, allowing yourself not to know all the answers, right? You're looking for new points of view and new perspectives. And if you allow yourself not to be perfect, that gives you a whole new universe of available lessons to learn.
I can't be perfect.
No, none of us can. We're human.
I'm not.
Your hair does look good, though. Your hair looks good tonight. Because this morning when we chatted, we both looked a mess. I'm just saying. I think I'm still there. But
You're too funny. Anybody else?
I have a saying that I tell my students, that you're the most important person in this world. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is very important that you take that time that you need for you. And a lot of people don't do that.
And I tell my clients, you are perfectly imperfect just the way you are.
Exactly.
Perfectly imperfect. Doesn't mean we can't make ourselves better, but we will still be perfectly imperfect the way we are. Exactly. And that's the way it should be.
Nothing's perfect. Nothing. No. No matter where you look or what you do, nothing can be perfect.
and I think everything's perfect exactly the way it is. I think it was meant to be. So I think it's perfect. That's just how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I was thinking about, for teachers, I think the ladies are coming from a perspective of teaching. I'm coming from a perspective of living, just being connected through. History is so important to me. And when I look back at my experiences, is what I feel connected to the monks, to anything, to Ellis Island. My great-grandparents came over. Their name is there, from Czechoslovakia, built a house in Sleepy Hollow. So I never thought about this growing up, where I ended up. It's a path. So my great-grandfather built a house in Sleepy Hollow, right by Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. It still stands today. My other great-grandmother, they came over from Texas on the other side, from Germany, and sailed. And there's a 19-page journal in Texas in the historic center there, because it's an important document. It's a 19-page. He talked about Abraham Lincoln freeing the slaves. This goes back. This is another family part. So I've always felt connected through that. And then the other connection is, I would say 90% of my best friends passed away. I've had over 8 girlfriends just die. I don't mean just die. I'm so connected to death and the afterlife that it's, and then I ended up in Lilydale. My daughter is a mortician. It's like, it's this connection that I just cannot get away from. And I just feel it like all the way to my being. And that's my spirituality. And the
Greg, I
Tuesday
have to
part,
say, I feel the same way you do. Every time I turn around a corner, the death gets thrown back in my face. And I at one point here, not too long ago, I even had said to Randy, I said, I'm done. Like, if this is what a spiritual journey is about, that's great. I can be a medium. I don't want it anymore. Forget it. I'm done. And
you guys, that's a graduation. That's not, there's not death.
It is, but it's hard when you're here and you've buried friend after friend, and but what I realized with all of this is that if every true healer, I really believe my mission on this earth is that I'm here because it's my mission to heal others. Well, how can I help heal others if I haven't gone through it myself? And so I try to look at it that way. You have to have the compassion, the experiences, the great healers. Look at their histories. If you look at that, and you'll see, they've got so many different situations that they resonate with. So I totally see where you're going with that too, Greg. I really do. You can't get away from it. It's a universe.
Angela, do you have something to say, hon?
Yes, I think that spirituality and being spiritual is being able to walk into like this magical forest. And when you walk into that forest, you look at the trees, and each tree holds a different secret, a different knowledge, a different kind of teaching that you are able to connect and take that wisdom. And when you take that wisdom and you look within, you find the same wisdom, and you find like this awe moment, and you wonder, and you connect, and you realize, this is part of my journey. This is part of what I am. This is what part of what I'm supposed to do. And this is part of what I'm supposed to be sharing with other people, with their ups and downs. Because when you're walking into a forest, you may hurt your ankle, or you may twitch, or you may get bit by a mosquito. But those are the ups and downs that spirituality is to me. Is walking into that magical, amazing forest and take the wonders and bring them to yourself. Take the bad times and bring them to yourself, and share what you learned and what you also discovered when you found those wonders. That's spirituality to me.
I like what Angela is saying, if I can chime in real quick, because I believe that the experience is what needs to be shared, and let others perceive it the way they want to perceive it, and let them experience, because I see everything as magic too. And when I walk out in the garden, I mean, I just see like, oh, there's a rock, coolest rock.
It's all magic.
Anyway.
See spiritualism like running 90 miles an hour, sticking my finger in an electrical socket with my hair all like, because I'm trying to learn as much as I gosh damn can, because when I do graduate, I am gonna slide. I'm gonna run and slide like I'm trying to steal home base into spirit guide school.
I'm gonna be on your 6. I'm doing it too.
Yeah. I also liked what Angela said about touching that tree and taking the wisdom from it, but knowing that it's already inside of you. Because I believe that we already have the knowledge and the answers that we need. We just haven't accessed it yet. And so the lessons that we learn are helping us to get in tune with those pieces of knowledge that we already have, and that's what I tell my clients when I do readings for them. I'm not going to tell you anything you don't already know. You just haven't accessed it yet. I'm helping you to access that information. So I really liked how Angela
but
explained.
isn't it part of their journey to access that information on their own?
but they already know it when they come to me. They just want affirmation of it.
I mean,
You
because
know what?
the way you just said it is that you're accessing that for them, but it's their journey to find those answers. If you're giving them the answers, they're not going to do the journey. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think she meant helping them find their way.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
give
Not, you know,
guide.
terminology can be a little.
Yes. The guidance, like that I tell them that this is not something that you don't already know on
Like-
some level. It's just that they haven't brought it to their conscious thought yet.
Like
Right.
give
But
a roadmap. It says, you know, follow this road, but they still have to take the journey.
Okay.
It's like when I brought through, you know, people from the spirit world, like a grandmother who would say, you know, there would be the memory of the sitter saying, you know, having the grandmother help with the homework, and say, when she would say, I'm not going to do it for you, but I'll give you a few little clues to nudge you right along. And so many people have said, you know, really, that's true. That's what she did. And I think in a way, maybe that's what we do. It's like we're not going to do it for them, but we give them a few little signposts to guide them,
Push
to
them
help.
on there. Mhm.
And the way I see it as a medium is some people, when there's a crossing, they're so hurt, they're so raw that they have trouble putting one foot in front of the other. And as a medium, my goal is to give them enough information where they know beyond a doubt that I connected with their loved one, that their loved one is okay, where they can start that healing process and start putting one foot in front of the other again. And, you know, get back on their journey, get back on their path. Karen, did you have anything you would like to say?
Yeah, I wanted to say that also. Like, I think, like, spirituality, like, we develop it with time. You know, the more we're more inside, the more that what our beliefs and how we see things, that's also what we create. So we need to be mindful of what we're creating, how we're seeing things, you know, how we're feeling about things, and strive to be good. And I really like about compassion and grace and forgiveness. I think those are three key elements to be a better person. You're better for yourself, you're better for others, and better for the environment. Yeah.
And I feel it's very important to forgive ourselves.
Yes.
We're not always on our best behavior. And sometimes we look back and we can be our own worst critic.
Yeah.
And if we stay stuck in that, then in my opinion, we can't move forward.
Right. And everything is energy. So you're having that energy stuck in you. I mean, sometimes I just sit down, I'm angry with someone, I'll just sit there for 5 minutes or whatever it takes. And I just go, if you hurt me in the past, I forgive myself and liberate you. And I breathe and I do it. If I hurt you in the past, consciously or unconsciously, I forgive myself and liberate you. Or if you hurt me in the past, consciously or unconsciously, I forgive you and liberate you. And you do it and you breathe and you really can feel in your body how that energy that you were holding dissipates.
I want to chime in on what you were saying right there, because you talk about the energy, which I believe 500%. It's like, example, somebody and they're just constantly negative. You know, I owe this, that, this. It drains yourself from, and you just need to go, and you can give them as much guidance as you can. They've got to figure it out on their own.
Absolutely.
The things like, I feel that what I was brought to help that. Very happy-go-lucky person. Yeah, I have horrible days that I just want to lay and do nothing and, you know, drown your sorrows. But it's always the next day or the next day. And you have people that are just negative with everything. Everything is the worst thing in the world. And your energy is from that. And then as far as you guys talking about mediums, I didn't bring this up when I was saying earlier, everything happens for a reason. But Randy knows of my dad passing. He was an avid fly fisherman. He was in magazines. And it was just so bizarre because earlier today I was like, Dad, you need to, I haven't heard from you since Christmas. I didn't have any signs. And Greg was saying about the trout, and he was always about trout. And when he said 9 inches and 12 inches, my father would always have to rant and rave about what inch fish he had got. So I don't know. I feel like that was everything happens for a reason. Randy reached out to me to be on here. Not like any of you guys, mediums and heal those types of things, but I feel that he reached out to me a month ago, and here I am, and I was supposed to be on here. If that makes sense.
Yep.
All right. So before we close out, anybody, this is your last chance.
I hesitate to say it, but I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Because when someone says everything happens for a reason, I'm not knocking the sentiment of it and how they might feel about it. But I question, the only reason I question it is because of an incident that happened to a friend of mine. And what could the reason be? Other than the guy was a drunk. I mean, and so I think another way to put it would be there's a reason everything happens. Not that it happens for a reason, there's a reason it happened. That works a little easier for me because saying it the other way makes me feel, well, it doesn't make me feel like it, but I feel like it's like, well, if it happens for a reason, okay, the reason was the guy that's drunk. That's a little whitewashed in a way. But I don't know how anybody else feels about that.
It doesn't matter. That's how you
well,
feel.
I'd like to know. I'd like to get some input on how somebody sees that.
Well, I think we all create our own reality, consciously or unconsciously. And our subconscious creates a lot of things too. So it's important to heal our subconscious because we can create a lot of stuff, and we're like, how the hell did this happen to me? Well, your subconscious has a story, and our soul that has thousands of lifetimes have stories too. So we keep recreating things. So it's important to notice those things, about that. And another thing that I wanted to say is also that, they don't teach us any of these things. And it'd be actually great if we start teaching kids and adults about natural laws. If we know how the natural laws work, we can create amazing things in our lives, like man-made laws. I'm not really too keen with them. They're just for whatever reason they created, but natural laws are, universal. And that's learning that we can create better realities and healing our subconscious.
See, and I have word laws because to me that to me denotes that. And see, this is all just perspectives of all of us. To me, the word law is like if you violate it, you're punished.
No, but this is a cause and effect. It's not a punishment.
Well, I understand that, but that's just how the word law strikes me. I like to look at like a pebble in a pond effect. I feel that while we have free will, no matter which option we take, the end result is going to be the same. The universe has a plan, and there's lessons for us to learn, but those lessons aren't just for us. There's a ripple effect that it affects everybody around us. Okay, everybody has something to learn. So from every situation, I feel that ripple goes out. So when you say everything happens for a reason, regardless of how you say it, because one way or the other, in my mind, it still comes back to the same thing, which is there's that ripple effect. And why did it happen to him? Well, maybe so that somebody over here and somebody over here and somebody over there gets something from that ripple that they
Yes,
universe
Great.
them to get.
I
Yeah.
like that.
yes, I agree with that too.
Yes,
And if
that,
you,
Yeah, I don't go with that at all. Sorry.
you don't, well, and if you think
Well, you might
about,
get something from it, but it could be completely horrible and negative. I think you have to add that to it because it sounds like you're saying something, you're getting something positive. It's not always positive.
No, it's
well,
a
you're
not.
lesson.
learning a lesson, but
And I
it
think
doesn't
that's
have
an
to be a
important-
positive one.
Right.
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's positive because you're learning something. Right.
Yes, it
No
will be
matter if
positive
it
if
was
you
true a
learn.
bad experience, but you're learning something. So no matter what, it's at the end an addition to what you have been walking. So it's a new experience. It's a new lesson.
But the beauty of it, that is his perspective.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
we're not trying to change a perspective. It's,
Yeah.
I like the fact that everybody has their own perspective. And because what I say is going to resonate with somebody, what he says is going to resonate, what every single person in here has to say is going to resonate with somebody different, that shares that same perspective.
Yes.
And it's okay to have different perspectives. Even if we don't agree with it, it's a fabulous thing. It's just the ability that we have to have them and be different. Everybody is amazing.
And what you said, Randy, that we are like enjoying all these stories, and I feel like the universe is like a storyteller. It's always sharing experiences, always sharing wisdom, always sharing um information in a language of vibes, energy, and connections. And once you get into that storytelling and you yourself as a soul, as a human being, as a way that you want to connect with any way you want to call yourself. If you connect with the universe and you become the audience because you're looking, but you also become the star in that story, then you connect with spirituality in this plane and any plane. So just become the storyteller, but become also the superstar in that story.
All right, we're getting ready to close out. Anybody with a burning desire, because I know we didn't get to everybody right now. Lee, do you have a burning desire?
I am good to go.
Barb?
Nope.
No, I'm good.
Chris?
I'm good.
Amy?
I'm good.
Sarah?
I'm fine.
Diane?
I'm good. The only burning desire I have is to cure my stomach right now.
Oh no.
Don't do that, baby. With that, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. I handpicked everybody that was here tonight. We'll be doing these once a week, and I really hope you guys enjoy them. There'll be such a different array of spiritual topics. It'll be amazing. So check us out if you enjoyed it. And with that, I hope you have a week as amazing as you. Bye-bye.